Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now we popping in for us a little video. I seen this just now this morning. This could have happened it could have been released yesterday, but I was in Skype with my developers and bumped into this news. And well, one of the good things about it is that it just shows it's not a good thing, but it just shows that this could be anybody. It can be, it doesn't matter the race, it doesn't matter the income level. And I think a lot of times people forget about that and just think that, oh, it's no possible way somebody could be that successful. And we seen that with P. Diddy. And this is, you know, Diddy was having us chocolate brothers getting looked at crazy. People start to, it's certain people think you all look alike. So when Diddy get into that right there, I'm noticing people looking at me sideways, like, oh, you look a little bit like P. Diddy. And so this CEO, former CEO, because they had to rebrand, he had a lot of stuff going on. And I'm gonna read the article and we're gonna talk about this and I'm gonna get to the root of this and talk to you if you're raising sons, how you can try to best prevent this. But then also to the women, if you're dealing with men who may be into some of this type of activity, you may be able to tell or pick up certain signs. So we're gonna read through it. And these writers, they like to get their money's worth. So they show enough like to write. Now this here written by Jonathan Dentst and Tom Winter and Marlene Linthang. Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, has been arrested on sex trafficking and interstate prostitution charges, prosecutors announced Tuesday. Jeffries was arrested in West Palm Beach, Florida. I don't know why you bringing that to Florida. Two associates, Matthew Smith of West Palm Beach and James Jacobson of Wisconsin, whole names now, were also arrested in connection with sex trafficking charges. Jeffries and Smith made their initial court appearance in West Palm Beach on Tuesday afternoon. Jeffries, who was the controversial CEO of the popular clothing brand from 1992 to 2014, so he been sat down how many years? 10 years. Was released on 10 million bond later in the day, so technically that means he had to put up 1 million. On bond later in the day, U.S. Magistrate Judge Bruce E. Reinhart ordered that he be confined to home detention with GPS monitoring and that he could not travel without approval and must surrender his passport. Smith, in the same courtroom, submitted to detention until the matter is heard in New York State. Jacobson was scheduled to appear in federal court in Islip alongside Jeffries. I don't know how you say that, Islip or Islip, for arraignment on Friday. Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson each face a single count of sex trafficking as well as 15 counts of interstate prostitution tied to 15 alleged victims. Now, 15 alleged victims, what they calling them. In court Tuesday, Jeffries, wearing a blue polo and white shorts, was shackled in a jury box as he conferred with his attorney, Brian Bieber. I wonder if he's on kin to Justin Bieber. A federal indictment alleges Jeffries, along with Smith, his romantic partner, and Jacobson, who was described as a recruiter, operated an international sex trafficking and prostitution business from 2008 to 2015. So right after he got in as CEO, because he was the CEO, and then a year after he got let down. No, he was 92. Okay, I got that wrong. From 92, my goodness. From 92, he been, he was CEO from 92. He got nasty in 2008. It alleges that they organized sex events in England, France, Italy, Morocco, St. Bart's, New York City, and the Hamptons for Jeffries, Smith, and others. They employed coercive, fraudulent, and deceptive tactics in connection with the recruitment, hiring, transportation, obtaining, maintaining, solicitation, and payment of the men to engage in commercial sex. They call it commercial sex. Okay, now right there you see this is a quick little lesson right there is how people around you could be complicit. Now this man was doing this from 2008 to 2015, and in all that time it didn't get out, and now we hearing about it in 2024. So that's another sign. Now what I was saying to everybody who's in a position, even if you're in a small town and you getting away with something, don't think that just because you've been doing it a year, 2 years, 3 years, that you scot-free. Don't think that everything's sweet. You better get out while you're ahead and don't take your grace for granted. Now, how he did this 2008 to 2009, we may not hear about it. If it was 2008 to 2012, we might not hear about it. You never know. But when you take that grace for granted and you do stupid stuff, you win stupid prizes. And so now here he is, nasty behind, around here digging off in men behind all around the world. He in England digging off, France, Italy, Morocco, St. Bart's. He taking them to exotic places too. Come on over here to St. Bart's. Get this meat leg in you. Nasty. The men who attended the events were led to believe that it could lead to modeling opportunities or help their careers, or that not complying with requests for certain acts during the sex events, and they capitalized sex events with a capital S and a capital E. Like, this is a real thing. Like, this the Super Bowl. Not complying with requests for certain acts during sex events could harm their careers, the indictment alleges. The youngest of the alleged victims was 19, prosecutors said in a memo to the court Tuesday. Many of the victims, at least one of whom was as young as 19 years old, were financially vulnerable and aspired to become models in the fashion industry, a notoriously cutthroat world, the memo says. Indeed, some of the men they recruited had previously worked at Abercrombie stores or modeled for Abercrombie. The men were required to sign non-disclosure agreements and surrender their wallets and cell phones during the events, prosecutors said. Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson were also alleged to have recruited, hired, and paid an exclusive set of household staff members to facilitate and supervise the sex events. The staff members provided Jeffries, Smith, and the men who attended with alcohol, muscle relaxants known as poppers, lubricant, Viagra, and condoms, among other items. The indictment says either Jacobson or the staff members paid the men for attending the sex events, it says. The trio employed a full-service security company to administer non-disclosure agreements, conduct background checks, and monitor and if necessary, intimidate victims, prosecutors alleged in their detention memo. On occasions when witnesses threatened to expose or sue them, Jeffries and Smith relied on the services of a security company to surveil and intimidate those individuals, thereby securing their silence, it said. The trio used burner phones for communication, the memo alleges. Breon Peace, the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, that sounds like a black man or a black woman, said at a news conference that Jeffries and Smith spent millions on the sex trafficking enterprise. Million. And from paying staff members to paying for travel to paying to maintain secrecy. The detention memo says some victims were paid directly in cash that amounted to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wow. Peace said the operation used a referral system and interview process during which the men who were allegedly preyed upon were not informed about the details of the sex events before they attended. During those tryouts of potential candidates, Jacobson typically had candidates first engage in commercial sex acts with him, the indictment says. At the events, the men were pressured to drink and consume poppers, and on more than one occasion, when men did not or could not consent, Jeffries and Smith violated the bodily integrity of these men by subjecting them or continuing to subject them to invasive sexual and violent contact by body parts and other objects. P said. Jeffries and Smith ordered staff members to inject some victims with a prescription grade erection inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in acts in which they were otherwise physically incapable or unwilling, the detention memo alleges. Prosecutors said they have dozens of witnesses who may testify, according to the document. Powerful individuals for too long have trafficked and abused for their own sexual pleasure young people with few resources in a dream of securing a successful career in fashion or entertainment, Peace said. He warned people who think they can exploit or coerce by using the so-called casting couch system to prepare to trade that couch for a bed in federal prison. Peace said his office became aware of the allegations through media reports. The BBC published an explosive report a year ago that said Jeffries had been accused of exploiting men at sex parties he hosted. The report said that 12 men described having attended or organized events that included sex acts for Jeffries and his partner, Smith, and those that those events took place from 2009 to 2015. Some of the men who spoke to the BBC said they were exploited or did not participate willingly. Bieber, Jeffries' attorney, told NBC News at the time that Jeffries would not comment on reports about his personal life. Abercrombie and Fitch said it's appalled and disgusted by the allegations in the BBC report. Jeffries presided as Abercrombie expanded its retail footprint and began posting 10-digit annual earnings. The rise was followed by a fall as fast fashion stores offered competing products for much lower prices, and Abercrombie was shunned for its use of sinewy. I see these writers get out of hand. Now, I ain't seen this word in my life. SINEWY. Like, what do that mean? Y'all, you get up there, you want to use your little raggedy degree from NYU. Now we can't even follow the article no more because you want to talk about for its useless sinewy. It's like, come on now. Sinewy. Overwhelmingly white models and for selling t-shirts that were decidedly racist. The company also faced multiple discrimination lawsuits during Jeffries' reign. Bieber said Tuesday in a statement, and y'all got to forgive me, some of y'all need to work on y'all emotional intelligence. You just like, Tony, can you just talk? Because you read the whole article. Just talk. I don't want to hear the whole article. I gotta go read the article. No, that's called bad journalism. And today, I'm a journalist. So I'm reading the whole article so I don't lie on nobody. Because if I just lean on what I thought I read, I would be on here lying on people. And y'all ain't finna have me in no lawsuit in the court of New York for defamation. So I'm reading verbatim so that if they want to call me in there, they call it NBC News in there. And so this NBC News and these three writers who want to use sinewy in the middle of the article. Bieber said Tuesday in a statement in response to Jeffries' arrest, we will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate, but plan to do so in the courthouse, not the media. Shortly after that report, Abercrombie and Fitch and Jeffries were sued. Abercrombie and Fitch was sued, and Jeffries were sued over allegations. They turned a blind eye to the allegations against Jeffries. That civil suit alleged he sexually abused numerous men after having lured them with the promise of coveted modeling contracts, CNBC reported. This is the last little part of it now. Today's arrests are monumental for the aspiring male models who were victimized by these individuals, attorney Brittany Henderson, who is representing alleged victims in that class action lawsuit, said in a statement Tuesday. Their fight for justice does not end here. The statement said, we look forward to holding Abercrombie and Fitch liable for facilitating this terrible conduct and ensuring that this cannot happen again. Oh yeah, Abercrombie finna have to come on some bread now. Asked whether sex trafficking may have continued after 2015, P said the investigation is ongoing and encourage any victims or any witnesses to come forward. What is a class action lawsuit? Y'all give pull up your email real quick. Well, on the summer eve of December 32nd, how long he said he was doing it? 2014. I was invited to listen. Now, when this stuff right here come out, I be having to fight back the scammer, fight back that thief from 12th grade that wanted to steal out the mall. I'm gonna write up here and see which one of this Jonathan, Tom, or Marlene want to use Sanui. But we got us a new word, and don't try to act like some of y'all gonna go Google, and that's a personality disorder. If you go Google and act like you already knew what the word meant, consisting of or resembling sinews. How the definition need a definition? What's a sinews? Similar, muscular. Let me listen to this word. Sinewy. Okay, I'm gonna hear some of sinewy. Sinewy. Okay, well muscled, muscly, brawny, well built, powerful built. All right. All right. This is a new vocabulary word for us. Y'all gonna hear me on the video. Well, back when I was built sinewy. So listen to me. This right here shows you the first part. What I want you to understand about this is if you raising a son. See, this is why the other day when I did a video and I can't remember. I think it maybe was Raising Boys to Men or something like that. I can't remember what the title is now, but it was a car chronicle. And one of the things you have to think about is the male mind needs structure. The male mind is not wired to just have complete freedom and especially adding money with that. So here you have these men. When you look up the guy, they just showing the CEO picture. I don't know what the other guys look like. Now the CEO, God bless his soul, he look a mess right now. He got a face full of filler. I mean, this man got more filler in his face than filler got filler. God bless his soul, but he got so much filler and Botox in his face. Oh my goodness. I don't know what he was trying to do. He should have just let that face rest. Boy, look here. He got a look on him. But he looked like, and the thing about it, you will see him and you'll just be like, oh, this was a socially awkward guy who just was sitting in the room one day and had an idea of this clothing line, Abercrombie. Don't even know what that means. Abercrombie and Fitch, and all the while I'm looking at this man picture and I just cannot see all the stuff they talking about. Y'all got to forgive me. My wife texted me. Give me 1 second here. Oh, she just telling me she loved me too. I'll tell her all about the film. And so all the while, here go Mr. Nasty. His nasty behind. He out here digging off. And give me 1 second. Make sure my wife good. He digging off in here, Mr. Chocolate Stick. And then, so he essentially doing the same thing that Diddy was doing, but it sounded like they just was choosing men. Now, I'm going to tell you what this come from, and I'm going to paint you a picture of where I could see how this right here could come about. So here you got, and I want the diary of, not the diary, the bio of Michael Jeffries. But see, this man typically with situations like this, there's a factor in there. So 80 years old. The man, 80? Hold on. This say his spouse, partner is Matthew Smith, but the spouse is Susan Marie Isabel Henson. Parents got the same name. Shirley Jeffries and Donald Jeffries. They rolling over in their grade. God bless them. Claremont, he went to Claremont McKenna College, London School of Economics and Political Science, Columbia Business School. Look at all that education to be digging off in cheeks. All that education. Wow, this man was married. Was the man married? The man was married. My goodness. And it got married in 1971. Wife helped them build. Wife probably inspired them, helped them build. Became Abercrombie and Fitch founder. I think they said it was, did they say 1982? So here you have, no, 1992. CEO. Okay, CEO. Business school, and he digging off. Dirt digger. Now that's a twist. Cause see, P. Diddy never married. So that let you know, like, P. Diddy is like, okay, yeah, you probably got something going on. You a bachelor like that, and you a bachelor this old. This man got married. If this thing ain't mistaking me, this man seemed to, no, that's his Wikipedia right here. If this the same guy, yeah, somebody just updated it. Partner, Matthew Smith, got one child. Lord bless their child. Lord bless his child. Abercrombie and Fitch. So see, let me tell you, if you don't give your son structure and not just in the room studying now, you got to have your son active, because just sitting in the room reading books is not active enough for the male body. The male body got too much testosterone to just be in the books. Yes, it's okay for your son to be a child genius. It's okay for your son to be smart, but you need to have your son doing squats, doing push-ups, doing lunges, doing wind sprints out in the street, out in the grass. If the street, he might, if he a little clumsy and scratch his knee. But this right here to me sounds like Mike, along the way, when he was young, he was coming up, he found a Playboy magazine. Found that Playboy magazine, started looking at these ladies, and then next thing you know, he got into porn. He started looking at this porn. While he looking at this porn, he started seeing meat leg. While he started seeing meat leg, he started seeing all types of shapes and sizes of the meat leg. So now he started to wonder what it'll be like for him to have him old meat leg put on him. And so the next thing you know, that mind kept roaming, kept going, and he had a wife as a cover-up, sound like. Susan Hanson, God bless her soul. It looked like she may be still living. God bless her. And then this right here is what he got into. This is, and see, he's not the founder of Abercrombie and Fitch. He was hired in 1992 by Les Wexner, CEO of L Brands, then named The Limited, to invigorate Abercrombie and Fitch. Now, I wonder if Les Wexner, if that was a real hire, or if Les, I ain't gonna speculate on no lawsuit. The company, founded in 1892, had been purchased by Limited Brands in 1988 after bankruptcy. So this is what happened. So, and I'm gonna give you an example. Last night, me and my son, we coming home. My oldest son, he's 17. I drive him to practice. We drive in his car, but our schedule, he just hasn't had the time to learn how to drive. And I thank God, because it's not really driving is not really his personality. He's very analytical, and he could get tense in certain situations, and he's an overthinker sometimes. And so, and his practice is like 40 minutes away, and it's across a big bridge, and it's like a real crazy highway, and it's wrecks all the time. And people who wreck been driving 10, 20, 30 years. So I'm not in a rush to put him on the road. So I'm driving him to practice. It's giving me time his last year to talk to him, and we having man-to-man talks. And it's good talks. It's some strong talks, some tough talks, some light talks. And last night we come home and I said, all right, son, we get home and put your phone down. Soon I said I was on the phone with my dad. So it's 3 generations of Tony. My dad, Tony Sr., I'm Tony Jr., my son, Tony the third. And I on the phone and I pointed to the clock and I said 10, and I pointed to his phone and let him know. So we walked in. So when we walked in, probably 9:55, 9:56, he walked in my room. He plugged his phone up in my room. I'm teaching y'all how to parent now so that your son don't grow up and be Mike Jeffries. And so, because the thing about it is, and I learned this working with a national championship college basketball team. One of the young men who played on the basketball team also wanted to be a pediatrician. And in talking to him, he's a Christian young man out of Atlanta area, out of Georgia somewhere. And I was talking to him about just his lifestyle, his mindset, and all of that. And I was like, man, you remind me of my son, and I hope he turned out as well as you. And I say, what were some things that your dad did that you maybe liked or didn't like? And he said, man, my dad didn't allow me to have social media or something like that, or my dad would take my phone, or my dad would limit my social media, because I was asking him, am I doing too much by limiting my son's social media to 30 minutes a day? He said, no, my dad did that to me. And he said, I didn't like it at the time. I was mad with him, but he was like, now I'm glad that he did it, because now that I'm in college, I don't need social media like that. Like, I'm not addicted to social media like a lot of my teammates. He was like, I'm able to go to class and take these tough classes because I want to be a pediatrician. And right now he's in the NBA playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this young man was not even expecting to go to the NBA. When I first met him, he was like, I know I'm not going to the NBA. I don't think that's the thing. But the way things shaped up, he ended up becoming the man on the team his senior year. And then he got a chance to go to the NBA. And I believe he'll stick for at least a few years, and he could stick longer if he stay focused and diligent and living how his father raised him to live. And so this is what I mean. That's why when you train up a child in the way that he should go, when he's old, he won't depart from it, because you have to create routines, you have to create structure, and you have to create boundary. So what I could foresee with Mike is either he could have been raised very wealthy or he could have been raised very poor. It's typically some type of extreme. And even if it's in the middle, because there are exceptions to the rule, but even if it's in the middle, you still have to have structure. Now, Jeffries grew up in Los Angeles, the son of Donald Jeffries, who owned a chain of party supply stores. So daddy was busy. Party supply store. That's probably like, Party City. Jeffries attended Claremont Men's College and London School of Economics before receiving an MBA from Columbia Business School. That right there show you this is what happens when you let money raise your child. So he went to Claremont Men's College. So you go to a men's college, you seeing all backs and dangalangs. So ain't no women at the college, sound like. And then ship him from LA. He raised in LA. Then he goes way to London for School of Economics, London School of Economics. And then come back and go to Columbia Business School in 1968. So daddy was successful. Daddy was a hustler. Daddy was a grinder. So daddy probably had an ego. Daddy probably was arrogant. Daddy could have been on alcohol, could have been, you know how successful men are. A lot of times we get beside ourselves. So now if Jeffrey's in there, he doing all this studying, he got to keep straight A's, but his dad not really imparting wisdom in his life, not really raising him. He just growing, but not being raised, and money being thrown at his problems, money being thrown at life. Go to this private high school, go to here, go to this private college, go over here to London, do all this, be successful, but he's not being taught how to be a man. He's seeing the American dream. He's seeing mom and dad. So Donald, Jeffrey, and mama, can't remember her name, God bless him. And he's seeing that. So guess what? He gets Susan Hansen because he want to have that American dream and be married. But really, he grew up and he found a Nasty magazine. And when he found that Nasty magazine, and then later got into the tapes and all of that, he more so got intrigued from being idle-minded outside of schoolwork, got intrigued, And then the next thing you know, he started looking at dangalangs. So now he looking at dangalangs and abs. So now he probably looking at the body that he didn't have. So he's starting to lust after these men, and now he wondering what it'll be like. And then here go Matthew Smith, nasty butt, bring his booty hole around there, and now he want him some. And so this is the thing. This right here, that's why you have to give your boy structure. You have to have rules and regulations. You got to limit them. You got to teach them moderation. They're not going to want it. Nobody wants moderation. Moderation even has to go down to the food. I see a lot of people let their kids eat like pigs. Do not just let your kids eat anything. Me and my wife made that mistake at a young age, and it wasn't necessarily that my son was just eating a whole lot. It just, we was young, you know, early 20s, not knowing what we was doing, and we moving, you know, ripping and running, and so just eating a lot of processed food because we didn't have that knowledge of, okay, whole foods, cooking, and all of this. It's like we didn't grow up like that. Neither one of us grew up in a cooking household. We grew up in fast food households. And so even if it was just Taco Bell, my wife said her and her mama used to get a bean burrito from Taco Bell, 89 cents, split it in half because they was on hard times. My family wasn't necessarily on hard times, had mom and dad, so we'll have us a week of McDonald's. Then the next week we got us a week of Burger King. Then the next week got us a week of Popeyes. But my dad, the baby of 12, my mom, the baby of 12. Neither one of them were raised. Both of them just grew up, but neither were raised. And so this what you have to realize in your family. You got to look at the structure. You got to look at the generational patterns. You got to look at what's going on, and you got to be able to make adjustments. And I know you tired, but if you don't want your son to be Mike Jeffries, while you throwing all them books at him and you got him all smart and you bragging about how he could read and how he could do math and all of that right there, are you putting him into activities? Like my sons get a lot of screen time, but they in travel sports. And so Tayden, 10 years old, he does soccer 6 days a week. Outside of that, he get to be a normal kid. He got straight A's. He in tough school work in the 5th grade. Some of the work I can't do because they doing different kind of stuff today. I know what they Singapore math and all of this stuff. And I don't know if my sons will ever become millionaires, you know, like their father, because of they so immersed in the school system. And that school system, it kill your creativity. And my school system wasn't like that because I just went to bare basic regular schools. But my son's school is so hard. I know their brain cells being fried while they learning. And it's just no different than they teachers and the principals. A lot of them, their dreams have been killed. They have nothing outside of that school. They go teach and they go work there, and they too tired, they too drained to do anything else. I worked with a teacher yesterday, and we were talking about doing something outside of just being a teacher. And that's the thing, what you have to realize. So you got to have moderation, you got to have balance. You got to have, you can't. And one thing with my wife, she was like, I'm not homeschooling my kids because I don't want them to be, uh-oh. I don't want them to be, I forgot I had a meeting. I had a meeting today. Y'all forgive me. One of the guys in my neighborhood went through a divorce and want to talk to me. And so you have to think about this, and you got to create this balance. One second. Y'all gotta forgive me. I be trying to help everybody, and it's not a paid session or anything. And I got 3 sessions today that's not paid. So and so you add that with my paid coaching sessions, then I have another 1, 2, 3 paid sessions. So I got 3 pro bono sessions and 3 paid sessions. So it's a full day. That's 6 hours of talking to people. Could be 7 or 8 when it's all said and done. So I have to just try to balance those things. But I want you to think about this. And because this right here, this man parents would have never imagined that their son, after all the money they spent on their son to get all this education, to raise him to be a successful young man. See, the thing about it is they taught him how to be an American dream, but yet didn't teach him about the nightmares. And that's what you have to realize and understand. And these men, what they got into, the stuff they doing, they injecting a prescription grade erection inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in sex acts in which they were otherwise physically incapable or unwilling. And then now the one fortunate thing about it is that the youngest so far is 19. So even though he's young, he was a grown man. But yet that's not all the way that grown. But this is what I want you to understand. This is why you have to be intentional about raising your boys, because at 19 he could meet Mike Jeffries. At 19 he could meet P. Diddy. At 19 years old he could have a older disgusting man trying to enter his exit. You have to have real conversations, especially if you finna have your son out traveling and going places and doing things and meeting people and he pursuing a dream and all of that. I'm gonna talk to my son about, because at Penn State you had Sandusky. I'm gonna talk to my son because he want to make it pro. I'm gonna talk to him because he may and one day have a meeting with a coach and the coach say, hey, you could come on this team and you could be a starter, but I want to see that you humble and whip out. Could whip out on him. Now I know how my son raised. He getting up out of there. He running up out of there. Yeah, I can already just tell how he built. And see, you got to pay attention to that. Is your son desperate? Will your son do anything for anything? I told my son last week, I said, son, let me know what you need. I said, let me know what you need. I said, let me know what you need. And just keep me posted. And like look up, at the clothes or whatever you need to buy, and let me know. Give me 1 second. Try to push this meeting tomorrow. And he said, well, and so I had in my head, I said, I'm gonna give him like 1,000, just to do a little haul for his closet, just a new season, just get his fashion game up. And he said, well, I probably need about maybe like 300 to get some of these new drops and stuff that's coming out. Now you got to realize this, is put it in perspective. I know if it's different, if finances is different. And so you have to put it in perspective with my son's life and his lifestyle and what he have seen and experienced. So if 300 for him is like asking for $30, basically, based on what he has access to and what he has seen in the life he's been around. And so you got to put it in perspective. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but because I was already thinking about giving more than 3 times that, just to put it in perspective. And that's me being cheap based on where my income is. And so, and I'm not bragging, I'm just put that in perspective, because a lot of times people get them out. And also don't be in the comments speaking on my son either, because you will get blocked. And if I could find an address on you, pray for us. And so here we are. I'm like, okay, he's not desperate. You got to pay attention to your child now. If your child come home, he got sore throat and bloodshot eyes, and you like, what's wrong with you? He said, I drank a half a bottle of Tabasco hot sauce in the lunchroom for $5. You got a problem. You got an issue. Now you got an issue. Now your son desperate. Now he's susceptible to Mike Jeffries. So here's the thing. It's so much pressure because success is not being explained to these young men. So now that's how P. Diddy was able to prey on these young men. That's how Mike Jeffries was able to prey on these young men, because they're not understanding that this right here, that success is how you define it. That you already a success. If you trying, if you working, if you doing what you could do, you successful. You don't need nothing from nobody. Don't let nobody get you out your morals and your values and your character. And if you got a teenager, let them listen to this part. Let them listen. He need to listen to the whole thing, because Diddy was touching boys 15 years old. And what you got to realize is this is not just, oh, this a multimillionaire, this unrealistic. Oh, my son doesn't want to be a model, so he'll never be in a position. No, the same thing that's in Mike Jeffries is in school teachers all throughout America. There are school teachers right now, males and females, getting sexual favors from their students in exchange for an A. You have to talk to your children. I'm guaranteeing you, because I understand how these spirits work. This is on every level. You could turn on your news. Now, I've turned on my news and seen men and women. Now, unfortunately, they have been Caucasian, and to the Caucasian race, God bless y'all, keep your head up. We got our problems as Black people as well. But unfortunately, when it comes to this abuse of power in the local systems, I've only seen Caucasians. Keep y'all head up, keep going. Reach out to me if you need some help. But I've seen a white man recently, and I've seen a white lady recently. But I've seen the Black track coach that was at University of Texas. The lady, I think they came out and said that Beverly Kearney or whoever, who I've met in person and was a part of one of her events in Texas, thanks to LaToya Luckett, who invited me out there, me and my wife. I believe it was alleged that she had a relationship with one of her track athletes. So this is the thing. Race doesn't matter. Gender does not matter. Age does not matter. Look at Michael Jeffries behind. If his Wikipedia is correct, it's saying he 80 years old. I see now why he got all that stuff in his face. Because he trying to look young for these young whippersnappers. He trying to put meat leg on. That makes sense now. That makes sense, because the stuff in his face do have him look like it does have him looking like a rough 65-year-old. And so so it would make sense if he 80. This thing saying the man was born in 1944. Wasn't that World War II? It say he 80 years old. My oldest client 73. So, and they are different. They are different. For me, any of my clients that's over 50 is different. They're just a little different. They're a little more assertive. They're a little more out of touch with reality. They're a little more intrusive. They're a little more invasive. My clients that's over 50 is the only clients that after a session feel that they have the right to text message me stuff random versus going through the support email. And I think it's just because they look at me as so young, and they feel like they doing me a favor by being a client of mine, and they 50, 60, 70. But I'm like, no, I'm still a professional. And so if you need me, you got to go through the proper channels. You know, the only people who could text me is on the text program. You in the year of coaching, because I set boundaries. And see, this is what you have to do. You got to set boundaries. In your life, you got to set boundaries for your children. Now, a lot of this stuff can apply to your children as well, because you got to realize, like the track coach, she was a lesbian, I believe. And so she was dealing with a player, to my knowledge. And then some of these women that I'm seeing on TV, they are PE coaches, they math teachers, they social studies teachers, and they dealing with some of the young women, or they dealing with a young man. Some of the women, they are dealing with the 16, 17-year-old Black boy. What you have to realize is that some of men's bodies are all different types and shapes. And so, yes, there are boys in high school that could have literally 7, 8, 9, 10-inch body parts, because different people are built differently. If this young man happened to have on some gym shorts, and this teacher, who is a nympho, a little freak, she see a print, that boy can become susceptible, because some of these women they've been lonely, or they've been nasty, or they've slept around and never crossed 5 inches, never crossed 6 inches. So now she see your son, and she see that he is built differently, and so now, next thing you know, she want to tutor him. She want to have after school meetings. She might want to get him in trouble to make him want to, or claim she gonna get him in trouble to make him beg, to make him come after, to make him stay after. And the next thing you know, and I'm thinking about this particular lady. I think she was at a private school in my city, and she was a white lady, and her face kind of resembled like the athlete type, kind of like the athlete, whether like former soccer player or former softball player type of, just didn't look all the way super duper duper feminine, but just kind of, naturally pretty, but looked the little feminine masculine. And I think it was a young male at the school that she was sleeping with. And so you have to get to a place to where you have these conversations. And I'm waiting, because we still trying to catch up on our calls in the growth club. So that just show you my capacity right now. Had, a lady write in yesterday, because she got in the growth club for 50% off. And it's crazy how beggars be choosers. You give them something 50% off, and then she complaining about she ain't had enough calls in the growth club. We only missed like 1 month, maybe 2, but then we make them up. We still got a call coming this month. Y'all rest easy. But it be crazy to me, boy, how people be, and they see you on here doing all this here work, and they still worried about that little extra call. I say, yeah, I don't think we're going to do the growth club next year. And you know what I'm going to do? When I do it, I'm going to do a real mastermind. I'm going to do a real mastermind. Did what y'all going to say. I'm finna charge a real mastermind $20,000. I'll probably charge $5,000. $5,000. That way, okay, yeah, we definitely gonna have these calls. $5,000. No, and no discounts. Do you like Myron Golden? You in my growth club for $25. One lady wrote in because we missed a call on the growth club. She paid $40. The whole program is $500 for the whole year. We do monthly Zooms on different topics with Q&A. The calls be 2 hours long that I'm giving. The lady paid $40. We missed a month. I need a refund. Go talk to Myron Golden. His cheapest mastermind is $20,000, and he don't even run it. He let his daughter run it. I ain't never seen his daughter, ain't never heard his daughter, don't know what she know, and if she know anything, I'm not finna pay no $20,000 for somebody I ain't never heard of. I had clients that paid $20,000 for that mastermind, and guess what? Now one of my clients, because she invested $20,000 in her mastermind, now it looked like she about to do her own $20,000 mastermind. Look, I seen a little title the other day. I said, go ahead, sister, go right ahead, because you know what? When you do like me and you try to be a blessing to people, beggars be choosers and still be complaining. When my client, who brand is probably 1% the size of mine, if she about to charge $20,000, that means I could charge $200,000 for a growth club. I mean, for a mastermind. You see what I'm trying to tell you? But see, this is right here. When we don't set boundaries, when we don't have structure, when we get too tired in our life, we get greedy, we get excessive, we get disrespectful, we get unappreciative. And this right here, this Mike Jeffries, that's the fruit of that. So you got to adjust. You got to get to the root of this thing. And if you raising children, you got to make sure that you are bringing structure, that you have boundaries, that you have things in moderation, that you have exploration. My sons did karate, chess, robotics, baseball, football, soccer, basketball. I think that's about it. Another little after school program, all of that. People say, oh, Tony, you know that stuff costs money. No, open your mouth and go to the club, go to the local club, let them know your financial situation, ask them how much it costs. If you look in your bank account, you look at your credit cards, you can't afford it. Don't just be begging, but if you can't afford it, then say you can't afford it. And I guarantee you, every league, every school, every organization have scholarships because they could write that off on their taxes. Do you know when you filing your taxes, there's a section that say discounts. You can write that off on your taxes. So guess what? I'm discounting all my courses on Tony Gass's Academy. That's owned by one of my companies. I never write off my discounts. I'm gonna start writing them off now. And so understand this. Create this structure in your life and start giving your kids structure. And you got to give yourself structure. Now listen at the air in my chest right now. It's 9 a.m. Listen at the air in my chest. It's 9 a.m. and I have not eaten since Sunday. Since Sunday night, it is Wednesday. So I did not eat all Monday. I did not eat all Tuesday. So I am crossed 48 hours. I'm crossed 48 hours. Here soon I'll be at 60 hours. In a few hours, I'll be at 60 hours of fasting with no food. I've had liquid. So I have my electrolyte water. I have water, stuff like that. And I feel fine. I have not had a single headache. And of course, you had that first day, you're going to have to use the bathroom or whatever, flushing your system. Have not had a headache yet. So guess what? I'm doing what I call fast until fail. Because your body does not need all the food that you put in it. It don't need all the drink that you put in it. So fast until fail, you listen to your body. And then when you refeed, now you do it in a healthy way. You give your body fuel instead of putting sugar in your tank. So think about your car tank. Go out there and put 30 grams of sugar in your tank and see what's going to happen. That Coca-Cola you drank, 30 grams of sugar. So you giving your body sugar instead of fuel. So when we start giving our body fuel, and this is what the Lord started to deal with me on. In every area, the Lord cleaning up my life. Every area. Even the areas that people can't see, the Lord cleaning up my life. Even becoming a better financial steward. To say, hey, Tony, make sure, have your savings, have your investment, file your taxes, get your credit right. If you're going to have credit cards, like get in order. Don't just say, oh, this me, this how I do, this how I always been. No, be better. And when you become better, you teach your kids to be better. Like my sons, I booked the pottery class for me and my wife. I took my sons. And so guess what? They got to do pottery. Now, they've done little stuff like that in school where they made some clay or whatever, but not with a pottery wheel. So they got to do pottery. That's exploration. They have done piano lessons. And I think my oldest done piano lessons. I can't remember if Tatum done piano lessons. But just exploration. Now, we ain't going to sit down there just do that now. Some people just put their child on the piano and then get up. He get up with that limp wrist. No, have them go out run and catch too now. Not just sit over there on that instrument all the time. Because listen, that go to channeling a different side of the brain. He go to producing too much estrogen. That's why you rarely see masculine musicians. Like masculine piano players and masculine, because the part of the brain that's being exercised, it go to channeling and tapping into a side that men don't often tap into. And a lot of times these guys become more and more feminized. So you have to have balance. I got an NBA player that I know who I spoke to his rookie transition program. He also played the keys, played the piano. You got to have that. Yesterday we had to cook breakfast as parents for the seniors. And so I'm cooking the sausage and the bacon and then flip a little couple pancakes. But there was a young lady there. I'm hearing this nice, beautiful piano playing. And the dad beside me, he said, oh, I bet that's my daughter. look over there. Sure enough, that was his daughter. But guess what? She also run cross country. So you got to have that balance, and they see the world. So listen, as parents, we are now in charge of making sure that somebody raised P. Diddy, somebody raised Bill Cosby, somebody raised Russell Simmons, somebody raised Harvey Weinstein, somebody raised Mike Jeffries, somebody raised these school teachers that's touching kids, somebody raised these coaches, Sandusky, somebody raised these folks. And so you have to realize we got to have exploration. Ooh, boy. Sandusky, 80 years old. Wow. Now, what y'all had going on in 44? Jerry Sandusky, Google him. Him and the man both born in 1944. He January 26th. Hey, God bless you. January 26th. I feel bad for you. Sandusky on your birthday. Let me see what day Buddy born. Like, was something in the water? They don't even know on his. They say he might be born 43 or 44, so it could be wrong. It is Wikipedia. Could be wrong. Whoo. So listen. Don't listen to me. Listen to me. Don't overthink it. Okay? Don't overthink it. It's not that complicated. And yes, we don't know what's going to come of the future, but you can look at yourself and you can look at who you are. Look at where you are. Look at your thoughts, look at your actions, and then look at your childhood and look at how you was raised. And just see if you got any of this Mike Jeffries in you. And then think about, okay, well, when you identify pain points, and what I mean by that is when you see the things in your life that you can remember that were painful, and then you draw a line from that pain point to what did it produce? Did it produce something positive or did it produce something negative? So you identify that, and then that allows you to make adjustments with your children. So you say, okay, this right here that happened to me as a child, it led to this. Let me give an example. I grew up and my dad never talked to me about sex. So being that this is my father, this the man I look up to, the man I love, the man I trust, I want all my lessons from him. But he didn't feel comfortable talking about that for whatever reason. It could be because he's the baby of 12 and he was not raised. He just grew up. And so he didn't have a manual on fatherhood. And I don't blame him, not mad at him. But guess what? When everybody else who had access to pornos and nasty magazines started having sex, and that became the thing, and everybody talking about, oh, I'm hitting her, I'm doing this. I'm like, oh, let me get in on this now, because nobody want to be left out. Nobody want to be ostracized. Nobody want to be the oddball out. Like, it's hard to be a virgin when you don't know a virgin. And there's no support. It's not the thing. So guess what? Lost my virginity at 15. But I just so happened to have a way with the ladies because I had a unique look. You know, I was an athlete, and not only was I an athlete, I was a star athlete. I started every game on every team, basketball and football. So now you already know the young ladies, they want the star athletes. So the starting 5 on the basketball team, the starting 11 on the football team, that's who getting the girls. And then as a young man, I had hazel eyes. And some people used to say my eyes was orange. And some people would say, oh, your eyes orange today. Oh, your eyes is gray today. Oh, your eyes is green today. And so it was nobody else at my school that was a black guy that had colored eyes. So it made me different. I had a unique look. And so to the young ladies, they like, and then I had a 2-parent home. So that also made me unique. I used to get dropped off in high school in nice cars. My dad had a Maxima with some rims on it. A lot of other people, they had like 1970s cars, literally. And even though it was, about year 2000, some people were driving classics, but it wasn't a classic. That was just what their parent could afford. And I was driving in the latest new car. Then my dad got a Lexus. My dad was he worked on power lines. He wasn't a lawyer or a doctor. He liked nice things. My dad, Lexus, was the same Lexus as the billionaire in our city who owned the trucking company. That family was worth 15, not billionaire. The company worth 15 million or something like that back in the day. It was 15 million or 15 billion. But he had a Lexus LS 400. And my dad got the same Lexus. It probably was older than the guys, but the same body style. And I remember he paid $10,000 for it. And I used to get to drive that in high school. So I would drive it to the party. So imagine a young black man driving a Lexus, a LS 400, big body Lexus now, two-tone. And I'm him. And I'm in the newspaper every day. So I needed my father to talk to me about sex more than anything and anybody. And that's why I was out there like that. So I look and I say, okay, everything that my father talked to me about, I did not do. Because when he told me the result of it, I was smart enough. I'm not finna do this if you done told me how this turned out. Everything he did not talk to me about, I did. Go figure. So when you draw that comparison, you able to make that identification in your life. So now as a parent, I say, I'm going to talk to my son. I'm going to talk to him about sex. It's going to be graphic. It's going to be explicit. I remember the first conversation we had about sex, he was 9 years old. But at 9 years old is when I started doing sexual things in the neighborhood. You know, everybody at the house playing, all the kids. Yeah, start getting it in because I didn't consider losing the virginity, but one of the young ladies' mama had a nasty magazine. So we seeing what's in that magazine. So we like, hey, get us a little something. We didn't know what we was doing. And a lot of y'all know that. A lot of y'all know that when you was young, playing house and all of that. Everybody, it ain't new to nobody. So if it's not new to anybody, why do we act like we don't know when to talk to our kids about this stuff? With all the technology they got, why do we act like we grew up faster than them? Like we knew more than them. Like we were more out there than them. With all the technology they got, with all this debauchery out here. My son telling me like, girls didn't used to sleep around like that. How my son telling me. He be telling me girls be, coming to school talking about they slept with 3, 4, 5 guys over the weekend. He said it just be crazy, just how many bodies they racking up. Like girls didn't do that when I was in school. It was like you had 1, maybe 2 girls that had like 10, 15, 20 bodies in high school. The rest, they could count on one hand how many guys they done slept with or was going to sleep with. So, but today, it's the Olympics. It's the Olympics for these kids. They out here just slanging, just nasty. And so you have to have these conversations so your child don't become Mike Jeffries. So listen to me. It's getting real out here. It's getting real out here. Now, yes, I could have did this video for stragglers and strangers and made it 7 minutes so it'll be clickbaity and all that. But y'all know we doing real work over here. I got a call coming up at 10, so I actually do still got time. But we doing real work over here. And a heads up, I am getting ready, and I want to inspire some of y'all, so that's why I'm going to share this. But I am getting ready. When I get a free time, now I'm kind of coaching Monday through Friday. I be filling in calls on Monday. That's the day. It's not on my calendar. And I try to keep the first day of the actual work week to myself, but now I'm having to fill up Mondays. But when I get a free Monday, I'm going to ride over to where my mom and dad grew up. And I might even look out in my city too. But what I'm looking for, and I want y'all to be mindful of this because I'm going to try to create a structure. And I know, I got haters and competitors and stuff like that who gonna steal the idea and try to beat me to it. But that's the more the merrier. We need these. So this what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna talk about this on Small Business Saturday. But I'm gonna share this here. But I'm gonna create me some type of reading center. I'm trying to get me somewhere to where the rent is anywhere from $800 to $2,000 a month, and I'm going to start a new 501c3 and Tony Gaskins Foundation. or something like that. Tony Gaskins Charity or Gaskins Family Charity. Probably I might say Gaskins Charity, so it's not Gaskins Family, so it's not all about me. But I'm gonna start a new foundation. And bro,
What's good, man?
hey, filming a video. I'm gonna wrap up here in about 5 minutes and hit you right back.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right.
One of my mentees and guys, I'm start us a men's group in our city and get together every month. Just talk about marriage and fatherhood and things of that nature. But as you can notice, this is the space I'm going in. I'm going into the space of just more purpose, deeper sense of purpose, more give back, more helping, more. It's just that's what's fulfilling in life. And see, that's what the Mike Jeffries and the P. Diddy's and the Harvey Weinsteins and Bill Cosby's and R. Kelly's of the world is missing. And Russell Simmons, throwing him in there, even though he in Bali, is just purpose. You got to, can you imagine what I'm getting ready to try to do? And Lord help me. And the thing about it is, if this is the type of stuff, if you're not in a position to do it all the way yourself, then just hit your wagon to those of us who gonna do it. And so I'm gonna set it up, I'm gonna create it, and what it's gonna be like a reading center. And essentially, I want to have 10 to 20 desktop computers in there. Along, they're gonna be in there in a certain area, and the kids come in and they could sit down and they could put headphones on and they're gonna go on like an ABC mouse. Because this ABC mouse and stuff, it costs like $8 a month, I think, because Tatum used it. And then you have the other one, I can't remember what it was, that my oldest son was on, but it was, one of them other things. And so that's how they honestly became very smart. Like Tatum gets 100s and nobody in his class gets 100s. And he's at a smart school. They at a nice private school to where this school winning awards for their curriculum and how they teaching these kids. And my son getting hundreds. His teacher called him Mr. 100, and he plays soccer 6 days a week. But he got it from ABC Mouse. And it's like $8 a month. But imagine a kid who live on Section 8. His mama don't have a desktop computer at home. His mama don't have a laptop. So I'm going to the guidance counselors at the local school because I want it to be either in walking distance or I'm going to get a 10-passenger van. And one of my volunteers or my workers is going to be, and I'm going to have somebody, it might be my dad. And then when he can't do it, I'm going to have my mom do it. People I know, love, and trust. And I want you to think about this and start looking at places in your building, in your city, because the goal is to expand and have a director. Now, listen, I am a tough judge of character. And it's a gift and a curse. It's an unfortunate thing. But when I talk to you, I could see through you. When I talk to you and when I look at you, I could tell every mental health issue that you have in the first 5 minutes. I could talk to you and know your life story. It's just something that I've always been able to do as long as I've been in this work. And I would talk to people and I would tell them and I would say, and they'll be telling me about somebody else, not even themselves. And I'll say, it sounds like what he's doing. He was touched as a child. And then she'll say, oh, wow, how did you know that? Yeah, he was touched as a child. He told me he was touched as a child. And I'm like, okay, that it makes sense then why he moving like he moving. And so it's just not being a therapist, not being anything, it's just a gift from God. So listen, a lot of times people who reach out to me, you're just not ready. You're not ready. You're not there mentally because you're not doing what I want these kids to do. You're not exploring. So if you haven't been hiking, this is not a fit for you. If you haven't gone out of the country, this is not a fit for you. If you haven't done a solo vacation, or even just if you don't go regularly eat lunch by yourself, this is not a good fit for you. If you don't know how to work a computer inside and out, work the computer. If you're not tech savvy, if you're not on YouTube taking computer classes and going and sign up, this is not a good fit for you. Not in every role. We may have some roles that's more like grandma or granddad, to where you making the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so when the kids come in, they get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich type of thing. Yeah, we're not trying to force feed these kids carrots and celery. We're gonna have a fridge, we're gonna have food. And the kids that's in the program, I'm gonna figure it out because I want them to be able to come every day. I want it to be a refuge, and I'm gonna go to the schools, and I want the worst of the worst. I want the kids with the absolute worst situation, and I'm gonna talk to their mama or their daddy, and I'm gonna get approval for them to come here after school until they come pick them up. And if the kid can't go home, I want to get the license to get the approval to where I may stay overnight so that they could sleep at the facility, have cots and stuff in the back. But it's gonna be very, very serious, and I'm gonna lead this like a military because I want to let the men and women know that's working with me, if just like what Jesus said, if you touch one of these kids, you better leave the country and never be found again. Because if I find out that you touch one of these kids, may God have mercy on your soul. And so I want these Tony Gaskins learning centers to be all throughout the country. And I'm gonna start with one myself. And when I get it done, when I get it set up, I'm gonna have my wife interior decorated. And I'm gonna actually use some of the funds from that I earned out of the channel investment to open this up. So I'm giving back, and then I'm gonna start the nonprofit, and then I'm going to actually, let me text my dad right now and ask him, can he go ahead and do it, get it set up, because he do 501c3s. And we're gonna get it set up, and I'm gonna find the building somewhere. I might even start in my own city, Tampa, Florida. I never say where I live at just because I don't want to have to take nobody's life, because sometimes it be scammers and stuff and they want to try to find you. But I'm in Tampa, Florida, not directly, but I'm in Tampa Bay area. So I might even start here. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area and you know like a F-rated school, and you know like in walking distance there's little buildings, and we're gonna set it up, and it's gonna be secure. It's gonna be secure. Our kids gonna have fingerprint entry. The kids will have fingerprint entry. We're gonna have cameras outside. We're gonna have cameras in every corner, and the kids will be able to get in. But they're gonna know, because every kid that come in the program, I'm gonna be their direct mentor. If it's in another state, it's gonna be on Zoom. We're gonna have monthly calls, just like we are MLM. We're gonna have monthly calls. And if you miss it, you got to watch the video. Hey, come on over here, John. You ain't show up. Where was you? You better start hanging with them boys out there. You hang with the wrong boys, I'm finna tell Mr. Gaskins on you. Now, sit down here and watch this video. Mr. Gaskins got a video for you. And they're gonna watch them videos every week. They watching them videos. They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn if they mom on drugs, they daddy on drugs, or if they not, but they just working too hard. And I don't want them to be home and susceptible to being touched on, to being, going through the trauma and stuff that Mike Jeffries could have went through, that P. Diddy could have went through, that produced them, that turned them into who they are. And so I don't want them going through all of that. And I can't save the whole world. I can't do it for everybody, but the thing about it is I'm one person reaching millions of people. So if we can have some of them grow up with character and morals and values, some of these kids gonna become pro athletes. Imagine they donation back to the charity, or them following the blueprint and creating their own, which I would prefer that. I would love that too. But some of them might say, hey, I don't want to do all that, man. You already doing it. You're doing the right way. Here you go, Mr. Gaskins. Boom. Like Kevin Durant. Remember Kevin Durant went and made all that money, and he had a heart for his AAU coach who was like a dad to him. And he took care of that man. I think he passed away, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And that's what I mean. Like, I see that. And so we're going to raise future leaders. Some of them people might become, some of these kids might run for president. And we're going to make sure that when they run for office, whether it's president or whoever, that they don't have no checkered past, that they not being federally indicted, that they not like, God bless his soul, Andrew Gillum out of Florida, who was doing all the orgies and stuff off of Grinder or whatever app that was, and all of that. But we want them to have integrity and character. And so this is what we're gonna be doing. As soon as I get the 501c3 done, I'm gonna make me a website. I'm gonna set up the PayPal for like donations and stuff like that, to where if you want to be a part of it, I'm not finna twist your arm like your pastor. I'm gonna be giving my donations to there, and then what? So you're gonna see it's gonna be up and running off of my family money. And but just for those who say I can't do it, I can't pay 2,000 a month, but I see what you're doing. I want to be a part. Then boom. And if you don't have to donate money. Like, I want to have a wall of great books. Now listen, we're not trying to get into the deep third metaphysics of the ninth ward world, Mars, nuclear, all that. Listen, I'm not doing nothing crazy with these kids. So if you spend too much time by yourself and you know your mind is starting to wane, you know that I have people like that who email me, and they are having mental health crisis, and they just go through so much in their head, so many conspiracies, so much. Oh, you going to hell if you drink Starbucks because that's a marine spirit on the cup. Listen, I tear some Starbucks up. Look at me. Look at me. God does not give nothing power over you when you are covered by the blood. It ain't nothing in this world that have power over you when you covered by the blood. Stop moving in fear and conspiracy and walk in the boldness of the Lord. You sitting in your house twiddling your thumbs on October 31st because you have turned that day over to the devil. You can put your favorite cartoon character outfit on and go outside and get you some candy, and you make it the Lord's Day. It is Hollyween, not no Halloween. Stop giving the devil so much power, and you take back by force what God has made yours. So we taking back the neighborhood. We taking back our children. These kids coming in here, and they're going to be instructed, and they're going to be taught, and that's why the first one going to have my fingerprint on it. And I might not open a second one for a while. I don't know if it'll be 10, 20 years to see what the children in my program turned into. But I doubt it. No, I'm going to keep opening them. But see, I'm going to need other people who say, listen, I got the business knowledge. I got the connections in my city, or I know how to, send emails and to the doctors and lawyers to bring in donations. But see, I'm not going to expand mine too much with that many people because it ain't about my name. I would rather you copy my blueprint and put it in your name. So that way, if you get greedy, like some of these pastors and prophetess, if you get greedy, if you take a stupid pill, it's not on Tony Gaskins Reading Center. So it's not that I necessarily want Tony Gaskins Reading Center or Learning Center all over the country. I just want them all over the country. So you put it in your name, Joe Brown, Mary Jane, not no weed. Now you put it in your name, and you just could copy the whole model. And I tell you what programs we using for the tutoring for the kids, the whole system. I'm just write down all my policies and procedures and franchise it to you. But you can use your name. You get my franchise. I might have to charge you $1,000 to $5,000 just to make sure you serious, just to make sure you all the way locked in, and then you just ain't getting it for free just to resell it yourself. And then you open one, and I help you open one. And then when you open it in my videos that I make available to my students, you can use those videos as well. I'm gonna have a whole system with little videos. They come in, they watch them a motivational video, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, teaching video. Then they do their homework from school. We're gonna have amazing teachers, 5-star rated teachers, meaning that I'm talking to each one of these teachers. If I sense that you crazy, if I sense that you desperate, if I sense that you project, if I sense that you got childhood trauma on you, you're not getting the job. You're not getting the job. If I sense that you got a Jezebel spirit on you, if you sitting there and I could tell you trying to finesse me, you trying to fake nice, you trying to be nicer than you really are, I could see all of that. You can't hide. I'd rather you be sweating bullets and nervous, because that showed me authenticity, that you actually nervous because I'm reading all through you. And then I'm doing volunteer teachers, and then I'm gonna get my teachers to $15 an hour. Then I may want to go up from there. It's just gonna be depend on the donations, what these teachers could be paid, because some teachers don't have kids. and they don't have a spouse. So for those teachers who are single, men and women, then they may want to come after and work them 4 hours and make another, what, that'll be $60. Make another $60, and I'll ask them, you want to be 1090? You probably have to be 1099, so they can add it as extra income, but they can write off their gas. They're gonna be able to write off their gas, probably write off a little piece of their car note from their 1099 small business. I'm gonna have them be their own incorporation. They might even have them start a LLC. I might start their LLC, or have them started once they cross the 20K threshold, get ready to cross, because under 20K, you don't even have to claim that money. And so they'll be getting their money. Then they start or maybe 13K some states. Then they start their LLC. Now they got write-offs. Write that car note off. Write that gas off. Write this off. Write that off. We sit down. We're going to sit down on TurboTax. We're going to have us some tax professionals come through there, teach all my teachers and myself and everybody how to do taxes. These kids going to learn how to do bank accounts. We're going to set these kids up to where we're going to get with a bank, and we're going to set these kids up with bank accounts to where every month a portion of the money that's coming in going to go into these kids' bank accounts. And it's going to be like a trust. So it's something that I'm going to figure out the right structure for it to where they can't touch it. They can't touch it until they're 18. It's not for their mama. Now, we'll help them because we're going to have Christmas giveaways. We're going to have turkey giveaways. We're going to have all of that. So I want this thing to really bring in millions, but you're going to be able to see. You're going to be able to pull up online where every dollar was spent. You're going to be able to see. I'm already taken care of. I already got nice cars. I already got everything. So you going to know I'm coming into it already blessed. But you're going to see where everything going, because this is what I'm realizing, and I'm getting chills right now thinking about this. If we take and we activate millions, the millions that is wasted in the strip clubs, the millions that is wasted on OnlyFans, the millions that is wasted on debauchery and filth, these young men who was getting a lining toe out of them was getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. You give me $100,000, 24,000 pay for a whole year. So now 25,000, you done paid for 4 years of this facility's rent. You actually done put 50% down payment on the building, because I seen a building right now that's available for $200K that I could buy and own and not have to pay no rent. And I might do it now. I might do it. I might go to the bank and see, hey, what y'all could do with this 400 credit score. We working on it now. Me and the Lord working on this credit score. Not literally, but I might be back there. I don't use credit like that. So other than when I got credit card 10 years ago, but I don't use credit because I don't have nothing to buy like that. So I got to check into it, see what the bank say. But if you're an underwriter, nah, I ain't gonna ask you to get in trouble with the Lord now. But yeah, I might need my mortgage for the 200K. I'll put down 10K. Put down 10K. Give me this 200K. If you do mortgages, give me that 200K. You might have to give me a couple months to get that credit up, though. I might have to see what that credit doing. And then boom, now we own the building. And then we just copy that model. Do one in your family name. But if you raising your family the right way, and see, the thing about a nonprofit, it ain't you going broke, because now you get to ask for money for a good cause. See, a lot of pastors is begging for money, but they're not doing enough in the community. Like these churches are big enough to have this program that I'm talking about housed in the church. But they just want to watch kids on Sundays or on Wednesdays. No, y'all can have a daycare every day for your members. You can let your members pay tithes, and if he or she pays tithes, that cover their daycare throughout the week. We got to redo the church. We got to but they don't want to give nothing. Yes, you should feel stretched. You should feel tight. You should be giving. Yes, get you a salary. Okay. I remember my foundation consultant that I got a call with in 29 minutes. She was running a foundation. She was the executive director, and their budget was every year was $394,000. I remember that to this day because I was shocked because she was 24 years old at the time. And they brought in $525,000 a year. And it was through private donations and then corporate and federal grants and all of that. And it was a program like what I'm talking about. It was a program very similar to this. I don't know if it's still going on today. And it was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And they would work with, I think, 24 kids a year. And they actually brought me in as a speaker. She brought me in as a speaker one time, and I sat with a circle of kids. Could have been at that day probably 15 of them. Could have been 20. And they had different initiatives that they would learn. And she told me, she said that when you start a nonprofit, you are allowed as the executive director or the owner or whatever to be paid up to 40% of the budget with no questions asked. It's like, so it's not illegal. So it's like, even with these churches, I would anticipate, I would say these, or guesstimate these churches bringing in, a lot of these churches, like a Keon Henderson type church or Mike Todd type church, I would say they probably could be bringing in a minimum of $1 million, but it's way more than that, probably $5 million, $10 million, could be $20 million. If they took and just paid themselves 40%, they wouldn't have to do all that begging. They wouldn't have to do all that arm twisting. Just pay yourself a salary and live within your means. And then the rest, deploy it to the work of the Lord. Just deploy it to the work of the Lord. And so that's what I'm finna be working on over the next 2 years. I don't know when I'll be in 100% position to get it up and going. But when I get it up and going, we get the building set up, we get it designed, get it, where it need to be. I got an office next door that I could have did it in, but I'm not by any schools. I want to be in low income neighborhoods. I'm up the street from me is, multi-million-dollar houses. So, cause it's an area where people get 5, 10, 20 acres of land. So I'm just kind of like in the middle of nowhere in my little plaza, and I'm in a storefront plaza. And so I want to get somewhere to where I'm like in a low income neighborhood now, by like, so that the route that the kids walk home. So I'm gonna go to the middle schools, and I kind of want to work with middle schoolers. I could work with some elementary, but I may just, and I'm gonna have them still separated because I don't want them, bullying each other and teaching each other the wrong stuff. And I know it's gonna be a headache. I know it's gonna be hard. I know it's gonna be. I'm gonna have liability insurance because you could have a kid bring them a strap in there one day, but they're gonna be, from the time they walk in, it's gonna be Christian music playing, and it's gonna be stations. Like, you could sit over here and put the headphones on, and I got a piano player that's teaching you how to play the piano. You get 30 minutes. You got to get up, let somebody else get down. I may have, and I'm gonna have headphone hooked into the piano, so we ain't got to hear them key. And it's gonna be different things like that. I can't say it's 100% gonna be that. And then I won't, like I say, if you say, hey, I ain't even got $10 to give, Tony, well, you might have a book. You might have a book that you done with. Send the books. We're gonna have where you could ship in the books. We're gonna have a whole wall of books where these kids could be reading. So they gonna learn how to read. I have friends who graduated 12th grade and did not know how to read and write. I want to up in that. I want to change that, because I realize I don't have a college degree, and I have earned millions of dollars, and my family lives an amazing lifestyle without having a college degree. But it's because I know how to read and write. That's all you need to be successful. And you really don't all the way need that, because I think they say Henry Ford couldn't read and write, but he just had a mind that would think. And my dad was telling me that story one time that he heard about Henry Ford, that people say, well, how you do this when you can't read and write? He said, well, if I need somebody that do this, I hit this button here. If I need somebody that could do this, I hit this button here. And so, but again, that's ingenuity. And these kids gonna learn that. And they're gonna have group projects too. So they're gonna go to school and they're gonna do the stuff they do at school, but in here they're gonna be having group projects. And I'm gonna let my mind roam. As a successful entrepreneur, I'm gonna let my mind roam, and these kids gonna know how to build business. But they might end up all with an LLC and a business. And it could be whatever kind of business. Like, I'm not, it could be a candy business. Even though we don't need to be eating a lot of business candy, it's a start. It could be a candy business, and they may have a group business. Hey, everybody got to do this. You got to be honest. God watching you. You could tell your people about it. They friends that's not in the program. Pop on in. We got friend. Bring a friend day. Pop on in. Come to our store. We got juices. We got candy. Okay, this how much we made. This where it's going. And I just got to have people I could trust. But the thing about it, the devil get in everything. Listen, there's not gonna be no funny business in there. It's not gonna be no demonic spirits. I ain't hiring no any and everybody. I'm reading the spirit. I am reading your spirit. And it's like, okay, I know lesbians that I don't get a toxic feeling for. Like they feel honest and genuine. And so, but then I know homosexual men who I get a very creepy feeling from. And that could be because I'm a male. So I feel it and view it differently. I'm not going to discriminate on who I'm hiring, but I'm not hiring every kind of spirit. So if you have a perverted spirit and I sense that on you, you got a spirit a little ugly, spirit a little nasty, spirit a little smarty, spirit a little dummy, and a spirit I sense on you, you're not getting a job. So you need to sit, you need to supplicate, sup with the Lord, read your Bible, pray, so that you prepare for service in these type of realms, even if you're gonna start it yourself or partner with your family and start it. Some of y'all got money that y'all sitting on and doing nothing with. When y'all could open y'all a reading center and you literally out of your 10%, it could pay the rent and put food in the refrigerator and have a staff just out of your 10%. You could have volunteers, and after work, you could pop in there every day, make sure what's being done is done. You know Miss Ruby, you know Miss Jackson, you know Miss such and such that's retired, 65, 60, 65 years old. She's sharp. She know how to work that computer, but she retired. She could run your center. You already know that you pop in there and make sure it's going good. Boom. And that's where you get your money to, instead of your begging pastor who you can't see his footprint in the community. Start giving your money to these begging pastors if you see that they not doing the work of the Lord. All they doing is lining their pockets. If your pastors in your city is just lining their pockets, take your 10%, maybe get with you a friend or a family member or two that ain't crazy, or if you make enough, then do it yourself. And you don't even have to rent a building. You could use a room. You could partner with a room at the library, a room at the community center. The young lady I'm telling you about who was 24, she didn't have a building. She used the community center. Her program was in the community center. And the foundation was in the name of an NBA player that she knew, that she went to school with. And he let her run it. And she told me, she said, I set it up so that he, even after he's done playing, could still, at a $500K budget a year, he could still be making $200K a year. No questions asked, 100% legal, because he could get 40% of the budget. And then the other 60% can go to operations and other staff and all of that. So imagine retiring as an NBA player and these players going broke within 3 or 4 years. But this young man, because he had the wherewithal to start a foundation his rookie season of the NBA, he has a vehicle that he can still make 6 figures for the rest of his life while living a life of service and purpose. Now, I didn't expect for this video to be this long. God bless you. And we will talk soon. And we'll talk about this on the Blessed Business Tribe. And as the videos, as I'm moving, as I'm doing, as I'm searching, looking up places and looking at places, those videos will go to the Blessed Business Tribe. Some people say, Tony, how do you join? Right at you looking at the screen, if you're in America. If you're not in America, you may not be able to join. But right on this screen, right up under it, it's a button that says join. What I recommend you doing is, if you on the YouTube app on a smartphone like the Apple iPhone, don't click it from there. Go onto the .com, go to youtube.com on like Google Chrome, and then bring up my video, log into your YouTube account, and then click join, because now you're paying directly to Google. So you're paying $1.99 for the Blessed Tribe or $9.99 for the Blessed Business Tribe. If you pay more than that, that means you signed up on an app where the app got to get 30%. So you can unsubscribe, log into your account, go to your memberships, unsubscribe, and from the Apple app, or cancel your subscription from the app, and then log into Google. Do it the same day now, so you don't forget now. Log into google.youtube.com outside of the app and sign up and get the actual price of $1.99 or $9.99. And now the Blessed Tribe, you won't get those videos because the Blessed Business Tribe pays $9.99. So they get the business exclusive videos. So I'm going to take y'all through my process, setting up the foundation, which that's not really nothing. That's just paperwork. But then when I'm looking for the buildings, Lord willing, I'm gonna try to remember to show the buildings, film the buildings, talk about it, the pros and the cons. I'm gonna look in different cities. So I'm gonna look in Bartow, Florida. If you live in Bartow, Florida, and you know a good area near like a African American middle school or what have you, or low income type neighborhood, don't matter the races because it could be white people there too, or Arbondale, Florida, and then Tampa, Florida. Somebody told me about something in Brandon, Florida, a little area out there, but Brandon's it's a little bit of traffic. So if I'm going here, the other ones I'll still be going this traffic too. So it don't really matter. But Tampa Bay area, Arbondale, Florida, or Bartow, Florida. And if you got family or something in real estate or whoever, they own a little building or got a little building that's vacant, let me know in one of those cities. And then if you in another city, and you got access to those type of things, like steal this idea. We need this. But as long as you got heart and passion, do not, because listen to me, I'm gonna tell you something. All of your pastors, not all of them, but 90% of them started with a pure heart. Your prophets, bishops, apostles, like 90% of them start with a pure heart. But once your passion, your purpose becomes your job, it could shift your heart. Once it becomes how you feed your family, it can induce greed. So that's what happens. So you have to, like, I believe it's Stephen R. Covey say, see the end in the beginning. See the end from the beginning. And you got to know how you're going to move. You got to know the standard you're going to set. You got to have a complete top salary cap to where no matter how much I'm bringing in, I ain't going to pay myself more than this. So that way, if it falls way down, I'm still good. And I don't have to scam, don't have to beg, and all of that. And so I'm gonna set some stuff up, and I probably have my family run it, and just be raising the funds. But I'm gonna be doing community fundraising. So I'll be, instead of me, I may go to where, you get a course to where the funds from the courses or a percentage of the funds from the courses going to the foundation, because the course is also how I feed my family too. So portion of the course is going to the foundation. So that way you get some exchange. You just ain't giving to give. And so y'all get ready. I'm finna sit down and think up the name today. I want Tony Gaskin Charity, Tony Gaskin Foundation, Gaskin Family Charity, Gaskin Family Foundation. That might be it right there. I think I'm finna go ahead and incorporate that today. I'm gonna let my daddy do it because he know how to do it the right way. But hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon.